Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Going Ballistic podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Ryan Kleckner, and I got the other one here with me. Hello, Jason.
Hello, man. What's happening?
Dude, it was so good to see you in Arizona last week.
I know it was awesome. I wish we could have spent more time together. One day just wasn't enough.
Too much family, man. Just too much family. We were around the valley like nonstop. We went in town for a week and seeing my wife's side of the family and my side of the family and running around. So yeah, I so
If uh, if everybody's wondering what's going on, we're having a little bit of computer difficulties here because I'm getting kind of a lag and I'm losing you a little bit. So if that's actually happening on YouTube, everybody, we apologize.
Oh yeah, bummer. Yeah, I've been doing a whole bunch of editing lately. It's been not only videos for Mayday safety, but editing the book. So it looks like the book is almost done for the children's safety book. I have all the images up there and everything's good to go. And I just didn't clear my computer out before we started this. So sorry, everybody, if it lags a little bit in the audio. So everyone jump in on the chat. Say hello. Love to see you guys. Love to keep the questions going. So yeah, man, I loved seeing you guys in Arizona, but dude, I am so happy I'm not in the glare anymore. It wasn't the heat, it was just that everything was like too bright. Getting back to trees and grass and shade was kind of nice.
Actually, it's been pretty mild, man. It's been nice so far. I mean, I can't complain too much. I mean, it's not hot yet. August is when it
Mm-hmm.
gets just nasty here. Horrible.
Yeah.
Right now is when everything's kind of still blooming. I mean, I myself am dealing with allergies, which I never had as a kid, but as an adult, I'm blessed with the runny nose thing while everything's blooming. So that's just awesome. I don't know how everybody put up with their whole life, but I freaking hate allergies.
Well, you're in Arizona, man. It can't be that bad. Like everyone moved to Arizona originally.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
And then
Jason, just to make you upset, I got a care package in the mail I wanted to brag to you about.
oh, nice. And I also wanted to state to on Monday Memorial Day, just want to give a shout out and thanks to everybody who served. Um, I know everybody likes having the day off and everything, but Memorial Day really goes out to all the servicemen and women of this country.
I
So
gave the
thank you
ultimate
very much.
sacrifice that day, for
That's
sure.
right.
All right. Well, now on that note, I feel selfish. Thanks, Jason. Oh, by the way, so it was great seeing your dad too. Your dad like cornered me right when I came in the door,
Oh, he was
and
dying to get a hold of you.
normally we have a pretty family friendly podcast here, so I'm going to have like a rare curse word. He pulled me aside. He's like, Ryan, just super proud, happy to hear you on the podcast, but you're spreading some bullshit about your uncle. I started laughing so hard. And my response was, yeah, yes, I am. Yes, that's kind of the fun of it. Just getting a rise out of you. So I just
uh,
tickled pink that he takes the time to listen and hear our stories out there. So I cannot believe how close our dads look. I mean, they're
oh
getting more
yeah.
and more like, and to the point where my daughter gave your dad quite the stare down for a while because they're pretty close. It's pretty funny.
Oh, it's like I was telling you. I mean, when your dad comes down to my shop, the guy's like, "Hey, your dad's here." I go, "That's impossible. He's not in the country right now." Well, he's up front. I said, "No." I said, "It's probably my uncle." So,
So here's the care package I got. I was not expecting this, which is actually just kind of cool. Just showed up in the mail. And when I first saw it, I went, what in the world is this? And now that I've been playing with it, I kind of like it, but I'm trying to be, not even trying to be, I am as unbiased as possible. So you guys that might think I'm a shill, maybe I am. I don't think I am. Believe it or not, there are many products that people have sent me that I haven't talked about because they don't work or they don't meet my standards, and I don't recommend them. The problem is you guys have to trust me on that one because I'm not going to try and trash anybody out there. I just don't think that's necessarily cool, but I'm definitely not going to say something's good when it's not. So I'll give a lukewarm at this point endorsement because so far I love it, but I don't know for sure. There's this holster company called Precision Holsters. Can you see that there? It's probably backwards on the camera. But Precision Holsters, they sent me a holster, and it's one of these hybrid holsters where it's half Kydex on the front and it's leather on the back. And I know you guys probably can't see it very well, but the leather's gorgeous. It's a dark, like brown, thick leather. I mean, this is like a full grain looking leather. It's not like a bonded leather. So it's a thick leather on the back. I know it's not very bright. I'm trying to get an angle for you guys to see. And the front half is Kydex for the holster. It has 2 belt clips. I already lowered them and adjusted them for appendix carry. Maybe that's a better angle for you guys. I'm really interested in checking this out. Everything I can see looks great. Normally when I look at a holster, I want to make sure that I can get a full firing grip. So I want to make sure that my middle finger can get underneath where the gun's going to be and not be blocked. Is completely covered so the trigger can't get engaged. It passes that. I've never had one of these where it's leather on the back for comfort, but Kydex on the front so that you have the speed of drawing and then you have the ability to reholster easily. I kind of think it's neat to try one of these hybrids out, and I've seen a couple of them before, and based on construction alone, this is the best one I've seen. Just the rivets and the hardware they use in this thing, there you go, there's a better view, are just awesome. I don't know what these 3 are for. I think they're just for decoration, maybe for branding. Anyway, looks kind of cool. I won't give it 100%, go out and buy it till I go try it yet. But I can leave it here is it's nice to see a product that somebody clearly cares about when they put it together. Can you see that okay, Jason?
Yeah, I can. And you're using your computer camera right now?
Yes. Yeah. So that's why the camera's at different angles. Everything's messed up with the computer tonight. So I'm trying to just use the laptop camera right now. So there you go for the clips.
Yeah, that's nice.
I think it's cool, man. So they sent it to me for a P365, which I don't have one yet. So come on, Sig, send me a P365 so I can try it out. I shot Kyle Lamb's and had a fun group with it there that he shared, but played with that one a bit. And I know they might be having some issues with it, but I hope it's just growing pains because I still stand by that is hands down my new carry gun. When I finally get one, 12 rounds in that small of a package and it shoots that well, I don't think you can beat it. So I can't wait to get mine, and I'll go torture it and put it through its paces and let you guys know what you think. And now I have a holster to try it out with once it comes in.
Nice. Yeah, I've been pretty stuck on the Blackhawk Serpa pistols, or holsters, not pistols.
Yep. You know what? I use one of those sometimes too. And I know that's like not cool in the industry. Well, one, it's fun to pick on Blackhawk. And 2, the Serpa holsters had some issues for safety for people putting their trigger finger in the trigger guard. I get it. But I don't know. It's kind of like riding around on a moped. I still do it sometimes. I use the holster. It's handy sometimes. So you guys can beat me up over that if you want.
I got a shout out from In the Shape of Human saying he's figured out how to get inside the handguards. Says he uses an airbrush like the ones for painting model cars for the Cerakote. Now I also use an airbrush, and that's what I use to get inside the upper. The upper is where I'm having the issue, not the handguard. And I'm able to paint it, but the issue I have is that it's a dry spray. And when it's a dry spray, it ends up feeling a little bit like sandpaper. That's the issue I'm having, getting up inside there without the dry spray. And when you were down, Ryan, we didn't actually get to open it up. You got to see the Cerakote job I did, but you didn't actually get to see that rust spray. Now, it does not hurt the function of the gun whatsoever, but what it does hurt is when you clean it. So when I get in there, with a cotton swab or something, and I'm trying to clean everything out, it just grabs it and wants to tear, the cotton off.
So can you just mask off the inside of the upper so that you don't sandblast it and then you don't have to Cerakote it? Because, I mean, what's wrong with the anodizing? That's smooth and works, right?
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. The upper and lower that I got when I did mine were bare aluminum, freshly machined. There was nothing on them.
Yeah. But if it was anodized, could you just skip that part?
And I'm going to. On my dad's build, I'm actually going to tape off, leave the anodizing inside, and let it be. So yeah, that would be the way to go.
Yeah, I mean, you might as well. Anodizing helps make a surface hardening, and you don't care about the color inside anyway, or I don't.
I don't. Yeah, no. So you got to see the Cerakote job.
Looks nice, man. I liked it. especially for your first one. I mean, I had no complaints over it at all. I think Cerakoting is one of those things that you can't say anything good as long as it looks normal. It's only one of those things that you notice something bad on, right?
Right.
So I think it looks great. I think it looks really good. So some people are saying here that Military Arms Channel's had some troubles with the 365. I saw that. Makes me nervous. I don't know if his is an anomaly. It seems like some other people are adding comments and problems too. I can't wait to get mine. I just been so distracted that I haven't really asked for one yet, which shame on me. So I need to get out there and get one, and then I'll tell you guys my experience, and then everyone can take it with a grain of sand. I know some people don't like the CZP-10 either, and a lot of people don't like the Glocks, but I love the Glock 19 and I love the CZP-10. So very interesting that his is messing up like that. I've definitely taken note of the problems he's been having for sure. So yeah, we'll see, man.
And then on your visit, of course, I got to be blessed with the famous Ryan Kleckner to look through my spotting scope and give it the thumbs up. So, how about that?
That was fun. Well, for me, it was fun. For you, may not have been, but we actually did some wind calling practice out at distance in front of your house.
Oh, it was great. It was actually fun to do, and you got to check it out. So,
guys, his spotting scope is the Cabela's what?
The Krotos HD is what it is.
So after Cabela's gave me the shove off with their warranty for their binos, their lifetime warranty, kind of bothered me. I don't like to keep a grudge, but I'll go ahead and recommend the spotting scope because it was actually pretty amazing. It was really clear. Loved the controls.
Oh, I lost you for a second.
Oh, just saying you made a good purchase. Have you had it back out in the desert yet?
No, but I love it in the desert. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, coming from what I had, which was a cheap $80 spotting scope, you know, that we were using to start with, it's just incredible, the clarity and how much we can see.
So what I was doing with the spotting scope, we were talking about wind at distance. We just focused on something a couple hundred yards away from his house. And just for fun, I said, hey, check out that wind. What do you think it's doing? And you could see it going predominantly one direction. But if you really stopped and paid attention, and especially if you focused back towards you or focused, changed the focus to something a little closer, even though you're looking at the same spot, you could see the wind was coming in the exact opposite direction. So you could see that up close, it was coming left to right and down a little bit. And then it was swirling around and shooting back up right to left about 50 yards behind it. So it was really neat to be able to see through the spotting scope and talk about it. Yeah,
no, that was great. And like I said, that's the one area that I have to practice on anyway. So so far everything seems to be about 2 minutes. I haven't had to change much out of that.
That's funny. So someone asked, since we have this new upward angle to my back wall, what is that mount above my head and what's the story behind that? That one is a javelina that my dad got. Javelina. They look like a boar or a pig, but technically they're more related to the hippopotamus, believe it or not, in Arizona. They're kind of like a hairy pig. They stink. They're really, really, really fun to hunt, and they're good for barbecue pork sandwiches. That's about it. This one right here is the antelope that you guys have heard about me giving Jason's dad a hard time about. It's my first big game animal. It's the only mount of mine I actually have because I'm just not that big into trophy hunting. But I don't know if you guys can tell from the angle. I think that's a pretty decent size antelope. And so being the first one and happened to be bigger than my dad's, we decided to mount it. So that's it right there.
As you should.
Cinderella Story 9 asked, wasn't Jason supposed to be getting a 22 trainer? Yeah, Jason, weren't you?
I am. I'm still going to be getting one.
And you decided on the CZ?
I decided on the CZ, the Tactical. We talked about it a few podcasts ago. I went out to the Arizona Game and Fish Expo that they have every year. You get to shoot all kinds of guns. I shot an older version of the CZ and loved it. It's exactly what I'm looking for. So, yes, it is on the list of things to come.
All right, keep telling us about that because I want to go run and grab something.
Yep.
Which scope you're going to get for it? You can tell people that. Hold on.
All right. So I'm not going to go crazy. In fact, since it's a 22 and I'm not going to be shooting too far, I actually thought about getting online and trying one of these knockoff scopes from Wish just to try it. and see what all the hubbub's about, because it certainly can't be what they're claiming it to be. So, Ryan, I don't know if you looked on that Wish website, but they have knockoff, basically Leopold Vortexes.
What website is this?
Wish. It's basically a bunch of Chinese crap that, I mean, they have a lot of cool stuff.
I wish you would not use that website for your scopes.
Well, I just want to try one on the 22 and see exactly what it is. I mean, they're not expensive. I'm just curious.
Oh. Okay, I'm gonna let everyone else beat Jason up for that one.
Yeah,
Jason,
you can beat me up for it.
No, you're getting like the nicest 22 for a trainer. The Kleckner boys kind of have a hookup in some companies. Maybe we can get you a scope at a good deal. Yeah, don't do that, because you know what it's going to be. It's either going to, best case scenario, it's going to be, oh, it wasn't that bad. Worst case scenario, it's going to be you wasted your money on it.
Yeah, or put it on the BB gun. But I would still like to go with a Vortex if we're going to get down to brass tacks on it.
Now, I love I love Vortex scopes. However, to prove I'm not a shill, I like the Leupold rimfire scopes. I really do. I have Leupold Variox 2, I believe, rimfire, because it has the parallax closer for 22 shots. That's actually what I have on my tactical. But I ran and got this for you guys to see. See what I got here?
That's a bird shot.
Yeah, a little 22 rat shot or bird shot.
Yep.
I got 2 cases of these. First off, these are impossible to find normally. And for you, Jason, in Arizona, I didn't know about these in Arizona either. We have carpenter bees like crazy here in Nashville. Carpenter bees are the ones that'll, drill the little holes, about the size of a pinky in your wood, and they just destroy your house. They'll eat your house worse than termites. Yeah, so the bottom of my whole front deck, you could just see these little piles of sawdust going on, these little termites. So this right here is, I am doing bird hunting practice with carpenter bees with my 22. I'm not kidding. I've actually been standing out of my porch, of course, facing away from the house, trying to get carpenter bees with this, trying to like get them, because they're fast, and trying to lead them enough in the air and trying to get. So far, I've been unsuccessful. But the point is, this is how much I like shooting stuff. Is I decided that if you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. So I figured if you can hit a carpenter bee in mid-flight, then I can hit a bird. So on my first kill, I'll take a picture of and post it for everybody.
I know my dad's old neighbor up in Chino Valley. He used to sit in his recliner at the end of the day watching TV, and he would actually shoot at mice that would run across in front of the TV. He had a piece of wood set up and everything. So they had mice all over, field mice up there.
Mm-hmm.
And I went over there to see him one day, and there's all these little tears in the carpet and pellets in this piece of wood. And I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I shoot the rats or the mice when they come running through. He goes, I'm too lazy to get up and set traps. I'm sitting in my chair. So I just sit here with the 22, wait for him to come by. I'm like, that's awesome. I mean,
that's
how
awesome.
Cool is that?
Yeah, I love 22s. They're a good time. Stevens said 22s are great. Yes, they are. I mean, if you got to have one gun, 22 is kind of cool. Get ammo anywhere. Works for a lot of stuff. Wes says his dad loads 20 gauge shells full of sand and a touch of powder. Works great for those things. Speaking of touch of powder, so I forget the stories we've told, Jason. Have I ever told the story of making the explosive simulators out of flour in Ranger School?
No.
All right. For those of you that like story time, pull up a chair. All right. So if you don't know me by now, then you wouldn't know that I like to kind of put my mark on everything, or I like to bend the rules a little bit. And yeah, leave my mark on something means kind of like piss on the tree of everything that I'm part of. It was no different in the military. In Ranger School, which is not that hard, it just sucks. And no, it does not make you a ranger. It's the worst named school in the world. It is, you've actually are a ranger for almost up to a year before you get sent to Ranger School. We treat it like a leadership school. Contrary to what a lot of people think, is you don't fire a single live round in Ranger School. You don't, that's not what it's for. It's all about military leadership is what Ranger School is about. Well, in one of the courses, it was in, I think it was Mountain Phase. I forget, Darby or Mountain Phase. It was in the woods. So probably Mountain Phase. We had to build in the, around the classroom phase. So you'd be in the classroom and you learn stuff, and you go out in the field for weeks or days, and you come back to the classrooms and do more stuff, and back on the week in the field. And someone wrote a comment I'm distracted by. Sorry. He said, "Did you see this story on Firearm blog about the FFL who's rated for overall length of shoes and pistol braces? I think there's some state laws in play." Oh, no, I haven't. I'll go check it out. Sorry for the distraction, everybody. So anyway, in this classroom area, they had us in bleachers and kind of like almost like summer camp is kind of what it looks like in these old military bleachers. And one of the ranger instructors, they call them RIs, wasn't necessarily meeting the height and weight standards anymore. Means he was kind of getting fat and lazy. He kind of walked out. He's like, "Hey, where are one of my bat boys at?" And bat boys means guys from Ranger Battalion versus the officers or the guys from, you know, the rest of the military there. And so, you know, like 3 of us raised our hands. He's like, "All right, you get down here and teach the DES class." And all right, so you run down there because they're used to us being able to teach this stuff. So he goes and takes back off to go relax some more. And DES is a demolition explosive simulator. And what it is a way to make an improvised device for training with explosives. And you would actually take like the cardboard from an MRE or any piece of cardboard, you cut it in a certain shape. This is like actually in the Ranger handbook. You cut it in a certain shape, and then if you fold it kind of origami-wise, it makes a cube or a, what's a cylinder, but it's a square? I don't know, a rectangular cylinder-looking thing. And what you would do is you would take det cord, which is explosive cord. It looks like parachute cord, but it's actually an explosive. And you would tie what's called a Yuli knot. It's kind of like a, looks like a noose knot, a really tight knot at the ends with a bunch of wraps around it. And the idea was you would put the Yuli knot of the det cord inside of the box as you're taping it up, and you'd fill it with half sand and half chalk. And you would tape the snot out of it with 100-mile-an-hour tape, you know, military duct tape. And then you could make your fuse igniters separate. So that when you got up to the objective for training, your fuse igniters would have a horseshoe of det cord, and your DES would have what's called a pigtail. And you could put the pigtail through the horseshoe, wrap it once and back through, and it would make a square knot. So you always carried them separate, which is a good idea until you needed to put them together, but it'd make a neat square knot. Then you'd pop the fuses and you'd all run away, and you'd get a pretty good boom out of it because it was still a det cord, but it would blow some chalk and some sand up in the air along with a loud boom to simulate an explosive. You know, no one's really going to get hurt unless you're holding it or actually right next to it, kind of thing. And you had to build a bunch of these for the next, I don't know, 5-10 days in the field. And you had to carry them around and just part of the missions. Because at the end of every raid or objective that you ambushed, you would have to get all the bad guys' weapons together and simulate blowing them up. So you had to have at least one charge for every night, and you had to do a mission every day. So he gets me up there and is like, "Hey, Ranger, get up there and teach this class." And so I get up there, and again, if you don't know me by now, I'm not going to teach a normal class. I kind of looked over my shoulder, and he was gone. I'm like, all right, this is going to be some fun. All right, who here knows how to do do demolitions? And most of the guys are like, "I don't know, I've done this before," because they're just like straight out of officer candidate school or stuff like that by the time they're in Ranger school. I'm like, "All right, hold on, watch this." So I go trotting over to the RI. I'm like, "Hey, Sergeant, where you don't have any chalk and you need sand and chalk to be able to fill these?" Because he seriously opened up the locker cabinet. It was just full of spools of det cord and blasting caps and all the really fun stuff. But we didn't have any chalk. And he's like, "Oh, well, shit, Ranger, you're going to be able to do anything with it without chalk?" I said, "Yeah, we could do them, but what would make it better is you get any flour, from like the chow hall or something?" And he looks at me. Yeah, he looks at me and goes, "Well, yeah, you think that'll work, Ranger?" I'm like, "Oh, Sergeant," like straight face. I'm like, "Yeah, if you don't mind, Sergeant, you go to the chow hall and get some flour. That'd be mighty nice of you. I appreciate it." He's like, "Oh, no problem, Ranger. We'll be right back." So he mosey on to the chow hall, and I run back to the guys. I'm like, "Holy crap. This guy has no idea that we're about to make a bunch of flour bombs." Everybody keep a straight face. And so sure enough, he comes walking back with a paper sack full of flour. And he sets it down. And I'm trying, I must have this horribly obvious face, on, trying not to smile. I'm like, "Thank you, Sergeant. Appreciate it. Good deal." And he's like, "All right, you guys doing good? Everyone good?" And I'm teaching people how to tie their Yuli knots and how many wraps and how to go through, and they're getting it all done. And he walks away, and I look back at everybody. I'm like, "All right, no sand, all flour, all flour."
Oh, no.
So he filled these things with flour, put the Yuli knots in them. And so it's a twofold benefit for us. One, you got to carry all that crap in Ranger school. So one, it doesn't have a bunch of sand in there, so it's a lot lighter because it's flour. And two, we were going to have some flour bombs going on out there. So we go out to the objective, and I don't think it was till the third night they finally caught on. But something like maybe second or third night, we're just already dog tired. You're already what we call droning, where you're kind of like walking and going through the motions, but you're not even really awake. You don't know what's going on. You got guys over there trying to put pine cones into trees, thinking they're vending machines, because you're just like so beyond sleep deprived and hungry. And so we get done with the objective at who knows what hour in the morning, and you get all the the Op 4, the bad guys' weapons together, and we put the DES on there. We pop the fuses, and I remember watching the fuses start to burn, and you kind of shake the time fuse off of the actual fuses, and you bring the fuses back. And so we take off, and we're like, all right, fire in the hole, and everyone starts running off into the woods. Well, the RIs hang out kind of near the objective within 10 or 20 yards, getting ready for it to go off so that they can, because the bad guys are still, U.S. Army soldiers, so they're still just laying there playing dead. And we're running back into the woods, and you're so fatigued, I swear you don't even feel like you can walk. You're like trying to like trot and run with all this crap on you, and you're sweating like, you smell of ammonia. You have so much, muscle you're burning in your sweat. And we're running away and just so dog tired. And the one like excitement in our life was seeing your shadow as crisp as can be in the woods in front of you as this giant fireball goes off behind you. And you hear, holy crap, as guys are like falling away from it. And of course, now that I'm older, I realize how irresponsible that was, because I could have hurt somebody, but I didn't. And then a couple seconds go by, and we all just get the big old grins on our faces, so we know what happened as we're running in the wood. Gave us a little spring in our step. You hear the RI, everybody stop! He's like blowing a whistle, bringing us all back, and we have to stop, and we have to march all the way back. And he doesn't know what happened, but he knows something. Fireball explosion go off of something, and goes, someone want to explain to me what was going on with that? And raised my hand. Yeah, Sergeant, that was me. What in the hell was going on there? Clacking there. I'm like, well, and I tell him the story. It's like, all right, that was pretty awesome. He's like, I want to give you a major minus, which is if you get 2 major minuses, you get kicked out of Ranger School. He's like, but I also think that was pretty freaking cool, but don't ever quote me on that. So I kind of want to give you a major plus for like doing something really cool. So why don't we just call this even and make it a wash, and everyone cut them all open and dump all the flour out, because we're not going to kill anybody running around with flour bombs. And I think he made me promise not to repeat it again, which, what has it been now? That was probably 2000. So it's been 18 years. So I think it's 99, maybe 19 years. I think it's safe to repeat it now. So there's my putting powder or flour in DESs in Ranger School. It's good times.
Oh, yeah. Flower bombs are no joke, man. Especially when you can get them to mist or atomize.
Have you played around with that before? I don't know if you want to admit that on the podcast.
A lot of stuff I shouldn't have played around with when I was younger.
Well, I think my dad showed me that with sawdust, because, as our whole family's into construction, building stuff. My dad would warn me, because he was always been a custom cabinet maker. He'd pick up the real fine sawdust and sprinkle it and just hold a lighter underneath it. And it was amazing how much it would, kind of sparkle on fire, and then all of a sudden, woof, big fireball real quick, and it would go away. You got to be careful. That's how grain silos in the Mideast explode, right?
That's right.
So, yeah. All right, everyone, do not go make flour bombs. I'm seeing a lot of the comments. Making bombs is still not necessarily legal.
That's right.
So be very careful with that. But, yeah, that is what happened, is it made flour bombs in Ranger School. Good times.
Yeah, we used to make all kinds of stupid stuff when we were younger, and it's amazing that we still have our fingers and our digits, and yeah.
Good times. So for the place I hated so much, I actually had some fun stories from it. I mean, I won't get into it now, maybe next time, but I recycled one phase in Ranger School. That's like not something you're supposed to be proud of, and I'm not proud of it. Is actually recycled means you had to do the phase again. So I technically failed one phase of Ranger School. Florida phase, I only got 1 patrol. So it was like the second day of Florida phase. I think each phase is like 3 weeks long. And normally, if you get a second or a third or a fourth patrol, that's your clue that you didn't pass the previous one. So they give you a bunch of chances over and over in leadership positions to finally get it. So I had a patrol like, I think, the second day. And for the rest of the 3 weeks, all my buddies had like third patrols. So I'm thinking I'm good to go on my first patrol. I never got another one. And they pulled me into the classroom at the end of the phase, and I'm done getting ready to go home. And they're like, oh, Ranger Kleckner, you're a recycle. What are you talking about, Sergeant? And he's like, you recycle, you're doing the phase again. But then why didn't I get another patrol? And he flips through his notes. He's like, huh, don't know. You should have gotten another one. Sorry about that. You're recycled.
Oh,
so,
man.
yeah. Well, I mean, it happens. I mean, it was like, ugh. So it sucks because I now have a recycle to my name, which is not a good thing to have. But at the same time, I feel a little better about, all right, if I would have had another patrol with like everyone else that got 3 patrols and finally graduated or finally passed the phase, but whatever. There's too many stories on that one about why I got it, I think, and then what we got to do because we were a holdover is even worse. They had the best ranger competition. So people that were held over to the next phase had like a 3 or 4 week, maybe longer, wait time until the next phase started because the best ranger competition. So we had to like essentially be these holdovers sitting there at the Florida base camp for all the like just doing odd chores for a week. So it was crazy. So next podcast, Jason, remind me. I have some funny stories from being a holdover to share there.
Oh, I'll remind you.
All right. So let's see what some of the comments here. Anyone coming with stuff that we can answer? So the 20 gauge shells full of sand. Oh, one more thing. I'm sorry. I'm in story mode tonight. As immature. But one of the things in the firearms industry is you go do sporting clays courses, right? So you know how businessmen normally go golfing, Jason?
Yep.
In the firearms industry, you don't go golfing. You go shooting sporting clays, which is kind of like golf with a shotgun.
Yep.
Right? Because you're walking around from like hole to hole shooting the different things. I am known, not anymore, again, I'm growing up a little bit, but I'm known for being that guy that sneaks a shell out of somebody's shell pouch because you're wearing the shells in like a pouch next to you.
Yeah.
It's sneaking the shell out of your pouch while I'm talking to you and using my truck keys or my car keys and prying the front of the shell open and then dumping all the BBs out. And you take your thumb and you kind of push it and crimp it back together. And while you're talking to them, you sneak it back in their shell pocket. And even though it's completely different weight, most guys don't even notice that they'll pick it up. And it's just, you do it to your buddies. They'll pick up for 2 birds and be like, bang, bloop. And the wadding just comes out like 10 feet away. It's kind of funny. Well, I think it's funny, but so sorry if I go sporting clay shooting with you and I do that to you. I don't think I really do that anymore. Again, I've grown up a little bit. Robert asked me, Ryan, if you can find one, you can get a 22 shotgun rifle. It's the same as the standard 22, but a smoothbore. I didn't know that. That'd actually be really kind of cool, just to get a little 22 shotgun just for fun.
And then you have to get little micro clays that you could throw with a little mini thrower.
Just take Altoids and flick them with your thumbnail.
Yeah.
Just take an Altoid and flick it up and hit it.
Remember when you were a kid, they used to have like a little gun that shot little discs that could have been, I don't know, 1.5 inch in diameter.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's all you need. Just shoot those little discs out and try to pop them with your 22.
Nice.
That'd be a blast.
Opus asked, have I put my Leupold Mark V through its paces? I don't know through its paces. I've been using it quite a bit, and I love it. I really, really do. It's nice. It is a lighter, compact package that has a lot of great adjustments, a great reticle in there. I love the turrets. I think Leupold had maybe a gap of years there where they may have been making great quality stuff, but maybe not on the cutting edge. I think maybe they got a little comfortable where they're at. Some other companies like Vortex started passing them up with features. But that Leupold Mark V, I have 0 reservations about recommending. That thing is a great, great scope. So if you like the Leupold scopes and you want kind of a tactical scope, the Mark V's a very good scope. It's really awesome.
You know, it's funny we talk about scopes. The scope that I think, now that we've talked about it, that I'm going to buy, because I've always wanted one and I've never shot one, is a Nikon scope. I love my binoculars. I love everything I've had by Nikon. I've never owned one of their scopes. What are your thoughts there?
So Nikon, like Bushnell and like some of these, well, I shouldn't say Bushnell. So Nikon makes good, decent glass. So quality glass is how I should say it. So that's why you get good spotting scopes and good binoculars and things like that. And even the scopes are fine. I mean, especially for the entry level stuff. I've had a 22 scope from them that was a decent scope until it broke. It wasn't hard to use, so it was decent. I personally have not experienced the repeatable adjustments that I'm going to want. And so now, Jason, now that you're in there and you're chasing that first round hit and you're chasing the better groups, I don't think you're going to be happy anymore with one. I think you'd have been completely happy with one before we started getting the long range. But now you will go to the range next time and adjust up the same 21 minutes, and it won't be the same adjustment necessarily, is my experience. But maybe they've been better.
Now we're talking the 22. I'm not talking the long range stuff.
Yeah, even the 22, the Nikon's the 20 black 22 or what do they call it? Whatever the sweet 22, something like that. I had just yeah. I mean, it is a quality for the price. So I wouldn't tell anyone not to get one. But if you want to get into a nicer class of scope, you sure can. Is that a weasel wordy way of saying? Well, because I don't ever want to. I mean, I already know I come across elitist on some of the gear, and I don't mean to. I think there's no reason to spend a ton of money.
Right.
So if you don't have the budget for it, get one. It'll work for you, and you'll get a good bang for your buck for sure.
Right.
So just try not to be that guy. Rich asked thoughts on the 6.8 SPC. Not impressed. I don't know. I thought it was cool, but the reason I gave it the thumbs down and that raspberry sound is just it's like every other new cartridge. This is you guys know me. You've heard me say like the 224 Valkyrie or what is it called? Is it even 224? Whatever it is, the Valkyrie. I don't get it. It's the new sexy cool thing promising to do everything, and I just maybe it is. Maybe I'm wrong, and I'm going to eat these words. But everybody chases the sexy new round, and then the firearms industry is not exactly the smartest industry in the world. I mean, guys, let's be honest here. If the automobile industry ran their companies like the firearms industry did, then they'd be out of business, right? If you went into a car's showroom and it was full of cigar smoke, and the guy behind the counter had an attitude with you, and they had poor lighting and a poor selection of products, and they tried to run over you with a car, the equivalent of pointing a gun at you, you probably wouldn't buy the car. So our industry doesn't make the best decisions sometimes, and they'll bring out things like the 6.8 SPC, where it's like the best thing ever, and everyone is like insane about it. Remember back to the early 2000s, the 6.8 SPC was bigger than the 224 Valkyrie by far. It was SOCOM's going to adopt it as the best new thing, the best new thing, the best new thing. And then a year or two later, it was gone. You couldn't find ammo for it on the shelves. No one made guns for it anymore. There are manufacturers that still make it, but not many. So on paper, I'm always hesitant to compare what's the best thing on paper because there will always be something better for a cartridge or caliber. Always. Eventually, though, you've got to pick a caliber that you can find, that you can practice with, that you like, and shoot that. So there's my opinion on the 6.8. Leupold make MOA scopes? I don't think so in a reticle. They make MOA spotting scopes because the spotting scope I use is a Leupold. I use a Leupold Golden Ring spotting scope, which is similar to the Mark IV spotting scope because it has an MOA reticle in there. But I'm finally getting to the point where I'm going almost all mil now, so I might be trading that in. See, Nikon Pro Staff, huge fan. Awesome. Jason, you pick up the tactical trainer yet? Nope, not yet. He's going to get it
Not
soon.
yet.
Ryan, what are my views or experience on the Citron S3? I think is what that says. I'm not sure. I have no idea, Robert. I'm sorry, man. I know 45 by 60 Legend tactical spotting scope with the Milhash reticle. It's pretty affordable. I've heard some people say they like it. That's cool. The Bushnell stuff I've tried. Every spotting scope has left me kind of going, I don't get it. If it's a price point, then Jay, get it. You're getting a lot of features for that price. Again, I don't mean to sound crappy about it, but if I'm really comparing like from one scope to the next, what's the best for me? It's not the best. Now, maybe for that price, Bushnell's doing some pretty awesome stuff, and I don't think you would regret it for that price. So go for it, but not necessarily my cup of tea. I'm the optics snob because I've spent so many hours and days behind optics, and that's what you need to be able to see what you're doing and see what students are doing. And I would rather cheaper ammo, even a cheaper rifle, and have a better spotting scope or a better rifle scope. That's just me. What do you think, Jason?
No, I agree. I mean, I argued with it at the beginning because I was trying to budget everything, and I'm still budgeting everything. I mean, even the HST scope I got, for both rifles is kind of middle of the road. It's
Mm-hmm.
not the $1,000 scope, but they work great for what I'm doing. Now, prior to that, I was happy with the $150 scope, and I
Well, yeah,
just
that's because you zeroed it once and then left it.
right.
And then you
Well,
wondered why it lost its zero 5 years later, but you didn't care that much. You just re-zeroed it and then left it again.
yeah. So
Yeah.
uh, I have no problems with going middle of the road, but I agree with you. It needs to be, at least read the reviews on it. I mean, that's all I've done on everything I've bought. I've read review, read comparison, just read everybody's thoughts online for weeks before I made the purchase. And I got to
Yeah.
say, the HSTs I've been super happy with. They work really well for me thus far. And the same thing goes with my spotting scope. I mean, my spotting
I've
scope,
never had a problem with Loophole or Vortex. Those are two amazing brands that stand behind their products. And I would, if someone said I could only use one from here on out, I'd be just fine. They both
yeah,
offer whatever I need. Now, the only thing I say outside of that is aim point. I am a sucker for aim point red dots. I don't think anyone makes a red dot as good as aim point does. For professional grade stuff, you can't beat it.
I haven't played enough with red dots to falter one way or the other.
So
right now, for me, a red dot's a red dot. I'm not snobbed out yet on red dots.
I swear on cheaper red dots, I can see the LED flicker.
Yeah,
It drives me nuts. Yeah, you ever see like the Cadillacs that have the LED taillights?
right.
You ever see one of those drive by at night and you turn your head quickly and you can see like the taillight almost, you can see the flicker rate of the LED as it goes by? Have you ever seen that before?
I have.
Tell me I was insane that that's impossible to see.
No,
Right?
I wouldn't think so. It's all a matter of movement at the time.
Yeah, well, dude, I think you might be the first person that says, "Yeah, I know what you're talking about." So it's the collector eye can pick up the flicker rate of an LED, and it drives me nuts. And so when they have the cheaper LED red dots, I see that flicker rate while I'm trying to shoot. So as I'm shooting from target to target, I see that like trace of the dot flickering as I'm trying to shoot it. It drives me nuts. The aim point's the only one that doesn't do that for me.
I'll have to look. I mean, I have 2 Vortex red dots right now that I've been playing with, and I haven't noticed anything. But I haven't been swinging it very fast either. I mean, I've been kind of steady shooting with it.
Yeah, even I think you might notice it. Check it out. You'll see it. Now,
Huh.
for the budget, the best thing you can possibly get going is that Spark. The Vortex Spark. I would not hesitate in a second just to pick one of those up because they're so inexpensive and so easy to use and shoot. I just don't think they're necessarily what I would consider professional grade. And I've heard plenty of Vortex guys tell me that too. The Vortex guys are very honest about it. They're like, no, this is a consumer or maybe a prosumer grade. It is not a professional grade red dot.
Yeah, I have.
Wyatt asked me, what about EOTech? Wyatt, are you kidding me? No. I've been like Mr. Anti-EOTech forever. And then remember a couple years ago, they came out with the accuracy shift issues. I actually felt vindicated. I don't like to like get happy at anyone's misfortune. And I'm not happy with their misfortune here. But I've been saying for so many years that EOTechs are not accurate and they are not parallax free. They say they're parallax free, but they are not. I've had way too many instances of guys having problems with them. So finally, when that came out, when that news came out, that EOTech finally had to admit that the zeros was shifting on them based on temperature and issues with them, that they just weren't suitable for a professional red dot. I had texts that day, Jason, all day from everyone going, haha, finally it came out. So I was vindicated. So no, Wyatt. EOTechs, I know some people like them. I'm sorry. That will be one I'll crap on. They just are not, in my opinion, meant for professional use. They are not truly parallax free. They're not reliable. I mean, we had guys that would have them that would drive me nuts in the military, and then they would turn off on them. You'd seriously be in the middle of a mission, and 2 hours into the mission, they'd be looking at something, the red dot would turn off as a battery saver. They have to like reach up and click buttons to turn the red dot back on.
Oh,
And it's
no.
a busy red dot. It's got a circle with the hash marks on all sides of the circle, then a dot in the center. It's crazy. And aim point, guys, you get like a newer aim point, you can leave it on full power for 7 years the entire time and then change the battery. To me, it's not a comparison. The EOTechs have always bothered me. I don't know. Trijicon MROs, I've heard good things about those. Don't have a whole lot of experience with them. Yeah. Jay asked about the Tika T1X22LR. Got one coming. I don't. I should have one coming. I was speaking to Tika, the Breda guys, the other day, and kind of want to put in a wish list of things to try. You guys know I'm a sucker for the Tikas. The problem with the 22s, though, are I love iron sights. I kind of wish every rifle I had iron sights on it. I kid you not. Especially if it's a rifle I can use for target practice or plinking or things like that. Because I think iron sights make you such a better shooter. I'm still convinced of that. You want to get better at shooting, stop shooting the scoped rifle, shoot the iron sighted rifle, and your fundamentals and everything will improve. And so I love plinking with the 22, and I love those iron sights. And unfortunately, the Tika T1X just doesn't come with iron sights like most Tikas. And I can't fault them for that. That's not a problem. That's just my personal preference. I like to have them. So I love like the little CZ Scout. I got that for my kids, and now that's what I like to shoot. A little bit. I mean, the CZ Tactical doesn't have iron sights either, and I shoot that. So I don't have a reason to replace it. If I had to start fresh, maybe I'd check the T1X out. I don't know. It's still a pretty cool rifle. So Tony says he's debating on either one. You won't be unhappy with either one, Tony. Just don't debate it. Don't stress about it anymore. Pick one of them. And instead of spending days wondering which you should get, spend days practicing and having fun with one. So you'll be fine. B-Bucks asked, thoughts on the recent Remington quality control issues? I still like the 700 action. I don't want to sound like sour grapes here, but Remington's not having recent quality control issues. They've been having them for a while. I still think, though, the 700 action is amazing. I still think that's why every custom rifle you can find out there, it seems like, is based off the 700, or almost all of them. It's a really, really smart, really forgiving action to work with. I think it's still a really good gun, and I don't think you can go wrong with one. I do think, though, if you can go to a yard sale or a gun show and you find a Remington 700 from the 1970s and you find one that was made yesterday and you're going to get one just to build a custom rifle on, I would always tell you to get the one made in the 70s. It's going to be a better gun. But the ones that are made today are still good enough shooters. They're still great. You can still find customization parts everywhere for them. I mean, Jason, you tell me, you have a new Remington 700. How do you like it?
I like the gun. I don't like the handle. And we talked about that.
The bolt handle? Yeah.
Yep. I don't
see. I do. You want to change it? I haven't changed a single one of my bolt handles in 700s.
Yeah, I don't care for it. Now, my Model 721s that I have, I love. Got the big chrome ball on it. It's nice to grab. It's comfortable. Whereas the 700 I have has that kind of flat end of the handle. You know, it's not really a ball of any shape.
Yeah, it's the standard. So I still love 700s. I really do. I think they're good. And if you had problems with them, Remington's going to take care of you. I mean, now the triggers are horrible. That new, X-Mark Pro triggers, absolute junk. So get yourself a 700, throw the trigger away, and get yourself a Trigger Tech. Yeah, and for the price, and get for an extra $100 for the Trigger Tech, you're going to have such a phenomenally better rifle. And then shoot the snot out of that rifle before you ever consider changing the barrel or upgrading anything else. So yeah, you guys will not go wrong with the 700. Don't get me wrong. Some of the Tikas and stuff like that I love so much, but guys, here's proof I'm not a shill for one company or the other. You're going to love a Remington 700 if you get one. And if you got issues, again, take it back. They'll take care of you. Yeah, the triggers are complete junk. They're junk. But Trigger Tech, $100, guys, is phenomenally better trigger than any other trigger I've seen for a Remington 700 platform. I mean, it is, in my opinion, way better than the Timneys, way better than everything else. It's just a smooth, beautiful trigger, and I like the company. They're good dudes. So I think you do that, and you'll be happy.
Easy to change out. I was shocked at how easy it was to swap it out.
The second one's a lot easier. If you learn the tricks right, you can actually keep your punch holding in your bolt release and spring, Jason.
Right.
So now I'll actually take it and I'll pop the pin out from the left to the right of the rear. So I keep the bolt catch and the spring in with the punch. And then I pull the punch out just enough to get the trigger free, put the new trigger in, and I push the punch back through to hold it, and then I have the pin on the other side, on the right side, and I push the pin from the right to the left, so it pushes the punch out, and you never have to take the bolt release or the spring out or re-put it in. It's kind of cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I had no issues changing mine out at all. It went. I think it took me longer to read the instructions a couple times to make sure I understood what they were saying than it did actually do it.
Yeah, Tony asked, is it better than the Jewel? Yes. Yes. The Jewel triggers are nice. There's nothing wrong with them, but you're asking my opinion. And in my opinion, I think it's one of the cheapest, if not the cheapest replacement Remington 700 trigger is the best. And I felt so many, even recently, as in a couple weeks ago, somebody got me a rifle to try out. Look at that trigger. Isn't that amazing? I was like, I don't know. I just don't know about it. And it was a Timney. They seem great, but there's an indescribable quality about those triggers that just isn't nice. I don't know if it's that they're spongy or I don't know where it's going to break or the over travel, whatever it is, just isn't right. So Tony, the reason I like them better than the Jewel is also the reliability of them. There's actually stories out there of people taking the side plate off the trigger text, sprinkling sand in there, putting the side plate back on, and it's still working like a champ, which the Jewels, whether fair or not, have the stereotype of they get slightly dusty at all, they stop working. It's a bench rest trigger. For a tactical all-around trigger, guys, again, $100, you'll never look back. Jason, am I lying to them?
No, not at all. In fact, where you and I start to differ on this is I actually am going to change out my Geisley trigger to a Trigger Tech trigger for my AR platform because I actually like it better, the one I shot anyway, than the Geisley SSAE.
Well, there you go. What are you going to do with the Geisley trigger?
I have 4 of them, so I don't know. Put it in one of the other ARs or put it in my dad's build.
Your dad will like it for sure. It's a great trigger.
Oh, there's nothing wrong. Don't get me wrong. I love the Geisley trigger, but I like the Trigger Tech one I shot better. A buddy of mine ordered it, put it in his gun. I shot it, and I'm like, I like this. I like this a lot.
So Wes asked, he said, Ryan, I'm going to send in my action to get trued in time. Do people actually send in an oversized bolt body with the action or wait until they get it back and order one to match after the fact? Well, one, you could use the same bolt just fine because if you're getting it blueprinted and trued, yes, they're going to be changing the bearing surface where the locking lugs are, which will change your headspace, but they're taking the barrel off to do that. So if they're going to put the barrel back on, use the same bolt. I don't care. Because if you get the bolt trued up anyway with those lugs, then they're screwing the barrel back into the right headspace. So I think it solves the problem. But if you want to upgrade, go to Pacific Tool and Gauge, Wes. Go check out Pacific Tool and Gauge and get one of their one-piece bolts. I think you'll be happier with them. So the modern Remington bolts, to cut cost, it sucks, but the bolt looks like it's one piece. So Jason, your bolt looks like it's a one-piece bolt.
Right.
It's actually 3 pieces.
Right.
The lugs of the front are one piece and the kind of the first section of the body, then the back half of the body of the bolt are another piece, and then the bolt handles the third piece. And they're all brazed together. And it works relatively fine. It really is. But if you're going to spend all that money, Wes, to get it super trued and blueprinted, one, maybe you should consider leaving the 700 alone and getting another rifle. Might be able to save some money overall. But two, if you're really going to want to upgrade it, just go ahead and get yourself a one-piece bolt from Pacific Tool and Gauge and send it with the action of the gunsmith, and they'll go ahead and get it all true. Michael asked, are the Trigger Techs better than the new Geisley for the 700? I don't know. Believe it or not, I haven't felt one of the Geisleys for the 700 yet. I have no idea. So I'll be happy to check one out. Rich, the one, asks, any thoughts on Accuracy International rifles? Best rifle money can buy? Yes. Yes, I think they are. I think Accuracy International are probably the coolest rifles possible. The only thing I don't like about the Accuracy International rifles are the thumb hole stocks. It drives me nuts having a thumb hole on a bolt action rifle. I think it just makes running the gun slower and crazier. But the British snipers had those when we were in Afghanistan, and those things, they could use them as like walking sticks to seriously beat their way up a mountain with a rifle, and it just keeps it zero. You can take the barrels off the Accuracy Internationals. There's actually a video out there if you find it. The guy shoots a group, reaches up with a wrench, takes the barrel off, puts the barrel back on, and then bounces the rifle off the ground a few times from the buttstock and catches it again, puts it back on the stock and reshoots it, and the group is in the exact same spot. So I think it's hard to beat an Accuracy International rifle. The 300 Win Mags had a little issue on their headspace. They were blowing some primers with the Navy, rounds, the SOCOM rounds. But other than that, they're amazing. Cinderella Story said he thought the collector rifle is the best that money could buy. Yeah, I should have said best rifle for the money. So sorry, Cinderella's right. Best you can buy? Okay, fine. But best rifle for the money is how I read that, Rich, and that's how I answered, not saying mine. Is best rifle for the money might be Accuracy International. They're amazing. But yeah, you want to spend 3 times as much as an Accuracy International and get like stupid accurate. Okay, get one of mine. But again, you guys do not want one of mine. You can get 95% as good for less than half the cost. So there we go.
No, plus eventually you're just gonna start giving those away, right?
My rifles? Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
why not? So man, I wanted to have another giveaway here. So I guess MagTech and S&B have been like very like happy lately because I've been talking them up about the ammo I've been trying. So I love it. So they're kind of like almost becoming a pseudo sponsor without really being a sponsor, just because they've been thankful that I've been talking up, having good experiences with the product, that they've been taking care of us a little better. They're sending Jason from what Jason gets and what his experiences with them are. And I think they're sending me some more 9mm because they know I've been shooting so much of theirs. And they're like, hey man, appreciate all this. Here's some more. So full disclosure, yes, they're kind of hooking me up. So I'm not going out and spending my own money on it. And I don't want you guys to think I am, because again, I don't want to be accused of being a shill. As far as the sponsoring for this podcast goes, you guys have been insanely supportive of Rocket FFL, of going and taking your courses and learning how to become an FFL or an SOT, and I appreciate it. That is awesome. For some reason, this past 5 days, you guys have just been extremely complimentary. You guys just being really kind. I don't know if it's the holiday or what, but I'm just getting some amazing emails from people just saying, thank you so much. Only halfway through, learned so much. Never could have done this without this information. You guys are awesome. I appreciate it. And of course, Mayday Safety. If you've been listening to this podcast at all, you know about it. I launched it now. It's almost been a couple weeks. Maybe, actually, it has been 2 weeks. Wow, time has flown. On the iTunes App Store. It's coming soon for Android. It has done very well. It's all over the world. We really appreciate it. And on Friday, on June 1st, we're launching the Pro dashboard version for businesses and organizations and schools to be able to manage their organization's safety. But even people that were not exactly early adopters that heard the idea, they're like, that sounds interesting. I've actually had email me as recently as today saying, holy cow, my family's been using this. Or how cool that my wife was able to do X, Y, and Z because she was worried about a situation with this app. And Jason, you and I talked about this when I was there. I'm struggling with this problem. Is I thought I was being a good guy by giving it away for free, but now I'm finding out so many people just don't value it because it's free. So I almost have to come up with a fake price and then call it free because I'm like trying to do a good thing, but they're like, if it costs $2.99 a month, more people might actually want it because they feel like there's more value. I don't know.
And I got to tell you, man, I can't tell you how excited I am to get my first care package. So thank you.
It's coming, man.
I know. Tell those guys, man.
They actually said it shipped. Well, you get excited to see what you get. And we want some honest feedback here.
Oh,
like, I'm almost expecting at least one thing, either negative or not positive, because we want to make sure everyone understands that we're being honest here about the stuff. They've just been a really cool company. Oh, Gun Tote in Minnesota asked me, any opinions on the Bergara rifles craze? They're decent rifles. I still think the Tika runs circles around them. That's just me. I don't think they're the same level. Now, what they beat is the Tika can't get out of their own way with the stocks. The stocks on Tikas they're kind of junk. They're not good stocks at all. They're hollowy plastic stocks, but they're completely different price points. But if I had to pick one for the action and the barrel, I think the Tika's a better rifle. But I wouldn't kick the Bergara out of bed for eating crackers. So, I mean, it's still a good rifle. I don't think you'd go wrong with it either. So maybe I need to get one and really put it through its paces on my own just so I can, see how they go. So, awesome. Cool, man. Well, thanks, Jason. I appreciate you being on. And I hope you guys that wanted the stories were happy with the story. And you guys that don't like the stories were okay with my rambling.
Yeah, and don't play with flour. Seriously, it can go really wrong. I'm speaking I guess not from experience. Something I saw on the internet. But
Oh man, I might not post this podcast. Oh well. So everybody, if you haven't yet and you have an iOS device, please, seriously, please go to iTunes, download it, try it out, check it out for your family, the Mayday Safety app. And then if you even halfway like it, go leave me a good review, because those downloads and the reviews make all the difference in the world. And it is trying to make people safer worldwide. And your way to help that is just download it and tell people about it. So I appreciate it, everybody.
Now we're still at the Mac version, yeah?
Yep, only Apple version right now. The Android version is coming out soon.
I can't wait. People with Androids, the majority of us in the world,
Yep,
are waiting for that.
all right, it's coming out soon. So, all right, everybody, appreciate you tuning in tonight. We had a lot of followers online and all the comments. I appreciate it. And Jason, man, you're the best. Thanks for taking time out of your night and joining us again.
Oh, my pleasure, man. Wouldn't miss it.
All right, take care, everybody.
All right, bye-bye.